Well, there's an artist colony in France called Pont-de-Vent, and at that time, Helen Corson, I don't know whether it was before, or I guess it was after she had taken courses at the Philadelphia Academy of Fine Arts. But anyhow, she went to Pont-de-Vent, and at that time she was living in the corner house here, and her parents had died. Her father was George Corson. The children of the family were being cared for by their uncle, something Malsby. He was a Malsby. And when Helen went to France, she was disowned because he didn't think it was proper for a young girl, a woman, to go off and leave her family and go out by herself and live in an art colony and study art. So she was disowned for going over there, but anyhow, she didn't care. And when she was there, she met Thomas Hovenden, and they were both photography was just getting popular then, and I don't know when we inherited the place, there was this great big square camera with a cover over the lens and a black sheet that you look in here, and the film would be a glass plate negative about 8 by 10, and you would look in here and get the people to pose the way you wanted, and then you put your head in the back thing and take the cover off the lens and tell them to keep quiet for how many seconds, and then put it on, and then process the film. So they both had cameras and were both a photographer, and we have several pictures of Pont-de-Vent and people, artists outside the tavern drinking it up.
When they got married, they moved back here, is that correct?
No. Helen got, she came back, and I don't know whether she was accepted or what happened, but anyhow, she came back. And then eventually, Thomas Hovenden went to New York, where he was to make money to live on. He made photographs. He took photographs of various things, and he also maybe at that time he went to the Philadelphia Academy of Fine Arts. I think he did. I think at that time, or maybe after he got married, he did. But anyhow, they got married. The certificate that she and Martha Hovenden applied for membership, sometime quite a while after that. So they eventually were Quakers, but I don't think when all this was going on they were. Well, she was primarily she was an animal painter, because she has a lot of horses, pictures of horses, and she was a horseback rider too, and I don't know whether I'm going to get into this mystic stuff, but I believe in ghosts. And a classmate of my niece, Meg, Anne's older sister, and her friend Sally Titsworth, whatever, she married 3 or 4 times, but Sally was living with me at one time, and she looked out the window and she saw someone racing around the fields with their long hair streaming out behind them. And then another time, she saw the, oh, I know. I think she had her baby here because we carried an old crib that was up in the attic up for her to put the baby in. And she claims she woke up and she saw this woman looking down at the baby in the cradle, and she said, my baby was in this cradle once and he died in it. That's the second ghost. And then, I don't know who saw this other ghost. I don't know whether she had a son that died or not. I don't know who but because it would be the Malsbys and all those people. Where George Corson met Helen Corson, met Helen Corson's mother. Yeah, he married the boss's daughter. And that's how the Corsons got control of all this. Oh, now, that's another thing. You're going to get too much. We used to come, we lived in New York, and we used to come over for Thanksgiving or Christmas or some holidays. And I remember sitting in the old house, and Aunt Helen was riding a cock horse, the Banbury horse, and all the rest of the family was sitting around and said, "You're too old to do that." And they were talking to me, "You're too big to do that," or something like that. And we just ignored them and we rode along. I know because Aunt Helen was my great aunt. Helen was my father's aunt. They, when they were here, the first thing I suppose, I'm just imagining this, they put a roof, no, George Corson had made a Abolition Hall out here, which is attached to the corner of the barn here. And when Helen and Thomas were here, they put a great big window here to catch the north light. And we have a photograph of another studio down in the corner here. And that, I think, there's a little porch and steps. I think it's where Spring Mill comes into Butler Pike. Door there had a thing and
yes.
Steps there, just like this.
Yes.
And of course, I think that was belonged to. Yeah, I think that must have been in the family because Helen Livesey, the Livesey store people. I don't know how she's related to them, but anyhow. She lived there when we used to visit here. Helen Livesey was in that house. But in those days, artists would take pictures of people posing that are in a group. When they take one of, so they wouldn't all have to be there. So there's pictures of someone breaking home ties, standing up with a dummy like this. Instead of a child or a son or something, whatever. And we have a lot of those old the glass plate negatives and the 8x10s and some about 4x6, I think it is. Yeah. And well, anyhow, they took photographs, and she painted and he taught at the academy. And then, I don't know the dates of this, but when he was coming back on the trolley from Norristown, and there was the railroad crossing was down here, and at Guru. And the story is that there was a little girl. Well, it was down here at the bottom of the hill where Plymouth Creek goes across Butler Pike. And at that time there was a railroad crossing at the same place. And at there, and the trolley came up and crossed the train rails. And he had just gotten off the trolley. I don't know why he got off there and he didn't get off here, but that's the story. He got off there, and there was a kid, a little girl running around, and she was in the way of the train, and he rushed out to get her, save her, and they both got run over. And the story is that Toss, that was Hovenden's 6 or 7 year old son, was down there, and when he saw this happening, he fainted. That's the word of mouth story of what happened. But so anyhow, after that happened, Helen mounted a campaign to eliminate grade crossings, and she's responsible for any overhead passes. There's one, crossing Butler Pike and crossing, I think the one that goes across Ridge is level, but I don't know. Yeah, that was one of her finds. He was in the same class as my father at the University of Pennsylvania, and he took up engineering, and he got a job, I don't know whether it was surveying or something, down when they made the Panama Canal. And when he was down there, he caught typhoid fever, and I think that's what was rampant. But anyhow, he was shipped home, and he was in the upstairs, one of the upstairs bedrooms, and Mrs. Evelyn Frederick was living in the barn there. Her father and grandfather were running the store for years, and they had apparently bought the store. And anyhow, she was a kid, and she was running around. They're right next door. She was running down, up and down on the brick pathway there, and one of the servants in the corner house came out and said, "Be quiet, go home. Master Tom is dying upstairs." And she's always remembered that. I know. I don't really know what I'm pretty sure she went to the Academy of Fine Arts, and she was a sculptor and worked in the downstairs of Abolition Hall, and I think she's the one that got the front windows, the little pane glass windows there, to see what she was doing. And she did a lot of sculpture, and the greatest thing that she did was at Valley Forge Chapel, when they built that, which was Well, it was after after Toss and my father had graduated from college because well, anyhow, I don't know the date. Yeah, probably the 1920s or something, 20s or 30s or something. But anyhow, she designed the bas-reliefs, the stone bas-reliefs on either side of the chapel, and I think there are pictures of. I'm going to go and get a photograph of that so I can show people, but it's quite an impressive thing there. That was her, I think, main claim to fame. But we have several things that she did here, like that one of her mother, and photographs of her. But she was very shy about telling people who did it, and one of the things I don't know whether this time we talked about the Livesey store. That was there was a Helen Livesey that whose name was Helen Corson. She's sort of a relative, and what was I going to tell you about? At one time. Helen Livesey was the principal of the Plymouth Friends School, and Martha did a portrait of her standing by a window and looking out like this way. Very big characteristics of Helen Livesey. But anyhow. It was in the, there was sort of a gallery in the corner house when we moved here, and that was one of the pictures there. And my mother and my parents gave it to the Friends School. And for a long time it was in that old building there. And now it's in the new part of the extension of the school over here. And they asked me to give a little summary of Helen Corson's, and I told them that Martha had done it, and they looked at the back of the painting, and she had gone over her name because she didn't want to be attached to that picture, you know. I don't know whether it was in the front or in the back, but anyhow, the name's been removed. Well, this is Martha Hovenden. This is Rab, dog. This is the sofa with the nails here. But when we came, it had black horsehair on here. It's sort of shiny, and the hairs were starting to come out. And Helen, yeah. And this was a fur rug. I don't know whose fur it was, but it was a fur rug. Thomas did in Portagon of two peasants. About 20 years ago, a woman called Anne Terhune wrote a book about Hovenden, and it took her ages to do it, but she has all these paintings in that book, and I think she gave titles to them also, and that just got published 5 or 6 years ago. And it's a very good book. I mean, it's got a lot about what they did. She probably knows more about it than I do, or she did. She's gone now. Well, this is called the watchmaker, I think, clock mender. Yeah, and I think this is the local blacksmith who had his shop in one of those first houses along the Germantown Pike. But anyhow, he's closed probably in the old house somewhere. And this is young Thomas Hovenden, and that's young Martha Hovenden over there. And this is what you call a genre painting, which means a picture in the home of people that are doing home-like, everyday home-like things. The genre painting, which is what he mainly did. At that period of time, Impressionists were making a move, and then there was another group that were a little different than the Impressionists in having light in a picture, whether the light was in the background or in the foreground. I forget what. There's a book I read about that. But anyhow, this is a genre painting. This is Toss, and this is the village blacksmith, and that's Martha Hovenden. When Hovenden was teaching at the Philadelphia Academy of Fine Arts, to illustrate Impressionist painting, which was involved in, he painted this picture of the orchard, which is, see the property line, our property line is up there and over here and then down here. And down here is the orchard. And of course, when we came here, most of those trees had fallen down. Of course, this one was really played out even then. So this is, see here is the, this sunlight sort of hitting, making a glow on the grass and the leaves here. And then the shadow is all over the top of it. This, I believe, is called Down the Orchard, because it is, again, the orchard that was in that other picture. And it shows the light. They were Impressionists and all those at that period were interested in the effect of light. And you can see that the light is always in the background. In this picture, it's in the background, and the shadow is in the front. And it to have balance, they usually made invisible lines up like that. And you can see there that the shadow here and the shadow here